Boom.
Look at that.
There
I be.
I don't know what they wanted me to ask you. They just said, go interview him.
Go interview him.
Over and over and over again. It was like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I started that mission. Then I met Vern from the Penske truck.
Yes.
Then I met God's Will Triumphs.
Yep, EMT 333.
And then I met OTR for a moment. I already met him before, actually. I finally realized I met him. Then I saw Eric the Mechanic.
Eric the Mechanic, yeah.
And then we did like a little interview. And then now I'm here.
Now you're here.
What am I supposed to ask you?
Are we having freedom time yet?
Oh yeah.
Are we free?
Oh yeah.
I don't like to say a fun time because it's not all about fun.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody come up to me and said, "Are we having fun yet?" I said, "What's fun about what we have to do? This is serious. It's a mission, and we need to get our country back." A lot of people are sitting out there saying, "Well, name of freedom is lost."
Yeah.
We haven't lost any freedom.
Right.
It's like, really, how about my freedom of choice? And in my chat, had a guy come out there the other day, and he says, I'll give $5 for each freedom you can talk about. I said, well, you better get your wallet out. You gotta have it fit. Because I can go through a whole bunch of my freedom of choice. It goes with my body. My freedom of First Amendment rights. My freedom to talk about on social media without censorship. You can go on and on and on. But ultimately, what are we doing? We're looking for that emergency to be in.
Emergency Powers Act.
Well, the Emergency Powers Act is the actual naming convention of the Canadian. Okay, in America, it's a declaration.
A declaration.
It's still emergency powers.
It's an important distinction.
Yeah.
Trying to get better lighting on our faces here. I think that's fine. I just don't want a better background. There we go.
Is that good?
The lighting's coming from this way.
Yeah.
A little bit better. Still a little rough.
So, but the emergency powers is the emergency declaration. What does it do? What is the emergency? Why do what? Everybody says, well, you're just trying to get rid of the mandates. Mandates are lifting. Hold on a minute. The emergency declaration is the key to what allows them to create mandates. What are they doing? They're subverting our Article 3 powers. I won't see the C word because I've already had my channel put on suspension, but
mine as well.
the C-tution, we'll leave it at that. It subverts the Article 3, which is our judiciary. And when you look at what that does, that says that if someone is trampling your Fifth Amendment right, and you try to go and put a suit against them, you can't do it. The emergency allows them to just walk right over it. So you have to end the emergency. The state of emergency, the declaration, that starts the dominoes falling for the rest of the mandates. The B-word mandates, the jab mandates, all of that goes away when you could take that federal domino and drop it. So that's the goal. How do we do that? We don't necessarily do that by just sitting there circling Washington, D.C. Burning up the fuel at $7 a gallon in some cases. That's not, that's just a thorn in your side. We could be sitting there like we were in Hagerstown and they're just waiting us out because if we're not rolling, we're not getting attention.
Right, yeah.
And if we're rolling around in the same place, we're just like...
It even becomes annoying to the people there.
Locals are saying, what are you going to do? You get that left wing media.
At first, the locals, the first time we took the Beltway, people who had no idea this was coming, they were like, they have a right to express themselves. That was the general opinion from the streets.
Correct.
And I don't know what it evolved into, but I could see it getting annoying. Just trying to get to work every day for 3 weeks straight, and it's like, and then what are you doing? So you're disrupting my pattern, traffic pattern.
Right.
What are you doing to make it happen?
Right. And how many people in this country actually think that the government is what they have to have in order to survive?
Right.
And That's not the case. Those are individuals who have not actually studied social studies, civics, American history. They haven't done that. And to realize that, I see memes for the last 6 or 7 years. I see these memes that of a little log cabin out in the middle of nowhere saying, if someone was to give you a month in this log cabin, all you have to do is not take a phone or a computer with you. Do it. The answer would be, yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat. Live off the grid, be able to homestead the way that
You could own the land, at least not be told to get off of it, right?
exactly. So that little log cabin with that rocking chair on the porch,
Yeah.
fireplace. That's the thing. People have become so enamored with technology.
Yeah.
They can't even put it down. It's the same thing when it comes to should the government feed us, clothe us, give us the ideas that we work with today. There are those that believe that's the case. But that's why you're seeing an older generation pushing this movement. Is because we know those freedoms. We've lived with those freedoms. And we see them disappearing where the younger generations don't necessarily see it. So we have to wake them up. We have to wake them up into what the Constitution. It just aggravates me to no end that we can't even say that.
Oh, that one I'm fine with. Constitution,
Oh,
go read it.
Constitution.
That one I'm fine with.
Yeah.
The other one,
The other C word. Yeah. But see there, I was talking about Article 5.
yeah.
And the next day, or 2 days later, when I got back on my stream, boom, 7 days suspension. I'm like, what? I was only talking about Article 5. So, what is Article 5? Article 5
And if anybody from YouTube is watching this, I'm happy to use the Constitution against you if you choose to ban this channel right now. That's all I'm saying.
Nice. Yes. So, Article 5 is an interesting article. It's a pretty short one when you look at it. But it gets interesting when you have the first four.
Or the states.
Now you have
Or the people.
The several states can now come together and create amendments to the Constitution without going through the House and the Senate.
Okay.
Okay?
I didn't know this.
This is where Article 5 powers come into play. So you want term limits? Article 5. That's it. Do you want a constant federal budget, balanced budget? You got the 28th and 29th amendments proposed. So you would look at a convention of the several states, and it's in Article 5. Where are we at? We're at 19 states. We need 34 to draft an amendment. We need 38 to ratify it, and we don't need the House or the Senate. We, the people, now have the ability to create the amendments to knock those people that are in D.C. out of their golden seats. And that's the beauty of that. So Article 5. Article 3, that's our judiciary. And that's where we need to get rid of the emergency.
Okay. Because the judiciary, for me, I've always focused on how the courts we can defend our rights in the courts. It's a freaking ridiculously long process.
It is.
But it's the final battleground before the worst of the worst. The courts are like, I can take a claim against anyone, and it must be heard.
Okay.
And if you lay it out well, you're going to be heard, and your reasoning will be understood by the government, and it will serve you as God intended. People have forgotten that. And
right.
if people all knew that, if we all knew that we could just take the government to court, and then everyone started taking the government to court, they'd be like, well, we can't enforce these laws because we have to, we were talking about this over here. Guys, hey, it would, because that's what you said earlier, self-governance.
Right.
And people are not self-governing.
No. And that's where this movement, California, so many people with me have said, why are we taking the Convoy to California? We can't fight that battle like we would DC. Because how many people that are going to California are actually residents of California?
Right.
So all we're doing is putting our money where our mouth is when we sat back and said you need to start planning your own convoys in your state. So we picked the biggest one.
And you're showing them that it can happen.
Exactly. Now we create a template. Now, what are we going to do? Along the way, through streaming, through alternative medias, we start waking people up that live in California. And we start saying, this is how you do it. Get in your trucks, get in your cars, find out what the bills are that you are against.
Well, maybe.
Like we've got on the federal level, we've got our single objective, and that's the emergency act, right? The emergency declaration. What is it in your state? You may have an emergency declaration in your state. You just don't know it. Right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's a blue state.
Almost every state has an emergency.
Almost every state has an emergency declaration like the one we have in the federal level.
Yeah.
You knock down that domino, all those other ones are easy picking. They're low-hanging fruit at that point. And you start going after them. And because now you basically set precedent in taking down the biggie.
Right.
Well, what other bills are set down there, right? We got the 10th of California that are pretty detrimental, and now an 11th really with the post-delivery child. Maryland's got the same one.
Yeah, I heard
Maryland's
that.
got that one that says that up to 28 days after birth, a mother can literally suffocate their child at day 27 after birth and not be charged.
The first most ridiculous statement that I saw came from North Virginia. He was saying up to the point of birth.
And
Done.
then a decision of the
Right,
mother
even after. Even
That's
after.
right.
He was the first one. So it's,
Yeah, he was
it's
the first one to
interesting.
bring it up.
It went from Virginia
To Maryland,
Just-
and now California. And see, this is the thing. It's a spread. It's a wildfire. So we need to wake people up and saying, don't let these people do it. These assembly members in their states, their state senators, they write up these AD bills, the assembly bills, they write up these, oh, well, I got this great idea. Everybody in the world should be B-word, jab. Wrong. You know, you cannot, the Nuremberg trial and the Nuremberg Code of 1947, Nuremberg 2, says informed consent. Well, if I don't consent, then how can you possibly take my job because I don't live? Right? Another lack of freedom. So, no, it all needs to come to an end. This is extremely serious. It's like when we're calling out people like Ted Nugent, Kid Rock. Get over here. Bring us your voice. You bring us your voice, you bring us.
Yeah, of course.
Because the people that follow you will get it. If there's followers of you that may not be for what we're doing, it won't take much to move them into that being
Right.
awakening them up.
Because they're just not aware.
Awareness.
They're honestly not aware.
They're honestly not aware. They only know that, hey, this guy's my guy. What he says, I'll do.
Yeah.
That's why we need to call them out. We say, look, your schedule, will it be as important when there is no more United States?
No, of course not.
Of course not. So why don't you move your schedule and get your butt over here and start talking, bring your people, and start helping us. Because you can worry about your schedule after we fix this problem. Your schedule means nothing to me when you say, well, I can't get it in my schedule. And that's what I say to the representative. Well, I can't really schedule a meeting to talk to you right now. Really. So when all goes to hell in a handbasket, and you wake up one morning and there's only one ruler in the world, what are you going to do then? What does your schedule have to do with it then? So that's kind of the thing. That's it. In a nutshell, it's a big nutshell.
Well, there is only one ruler in the world. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's the only
I didn't
one
say
that-
the universe though. But if
Right,
we
right.
woke up and that was the only one, I'm okay with that.
Right. And I think that's where we started to fall apart. We forgot that we have a creator.
That's correct.
And the Declaration of Independence says that our rights come from the creator,
Yes.
and the power of the
Inalienable
government
right is
comes
at the
from
consent of the government.
consent of the governed.
That's right. And life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
And if any form of government is destructive to those ends,
You destroy
it
the
is
band.
the right, and I would add the word duty
Yeah.
of the people to abolish it
Yeah.
and replace it.
Yes.
And that's in paragraph 2 of the Declaration of Independence.
And that was debate. I heard this when I was younger. Like, oh, I always thought the Constitution was so important, and it'd be like, no, Declaration of Independence is so much more important. I didn't understand why. But then when you started the consent of the government derives its just power. I harp on that constantly. The government derives its just powers from the consent
of the government.
of the government.
Paragraph 2 of the Declaration of Independence is pretty much, in a nutshell, what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Is the wake-up call to that.
Right.
And because it talks about the people replacing, abolishing, and creating
A new one.
a new government. So when everybody says, oh, we need to kick them all out, you're right. How do you do that if the voting systems are all cheatable?
Right.
How do you get in there and have everybody run? Well, that's where you start up from the bottom and you work your way up from the school boards.
Yes.
Right? We start getting people. Think about this for just a moment.
Right.
What were those 56 fine gentlemen sitting in a hot summer room in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1781 thinking when they wrote down in Article 1 of the Constitution? What were they thinking as to why a House member only gets 2 years in a term?
Corruption says that.
You, me, and people like us get to go and serve.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not thinking, oh, we're going to give them 6-8 years.
Yeah.
They're thinking 2 years, you're out, bring somebody in.
Anyone.
Bring in the farmer, bring in the mechanic, bring in the guy that, bring everybody in. He's going to go down and kick it around. Bring them all in.
Yeah.
That's what they're thinking. So term limits, they weren't thinking about that. They didn't think that it would have such a bad thing, but they never thought about it. The 22nd Amendment brought term limits to the president. So, when you start looking at all of the, if you can step back in time to 1781, and you start thinking when they started trying to pound out and do all the compromises, you got to remember that from 1776 to 1781, that 11-year gap, we had only the Articles of Confederation. And that was not the answer, which is why they had to come up with the Constitution.
States started on the war with each other and all that.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I've heard. I don't know.
But there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
The Articles were never rescinded. The Constitution's created in 1781, so if it's written in the Constitution, then it supersedes the Articles. However, if it's in the Articles and not in the Constitution, the Articles stand.
But it all stems from the Declaration of Independence.
Well, it doesn't stem from, it's in addition to.
Right.
Yes, you
But
have
you
the
could- but you
Declaration
could-
of
but we could go
Independence,
back-
then the Articles, then the Constitution, yeah. So you start there and you roll forward.
Theoretically, we could go back to the Declaration of Independence and build a new government from that.
Yes, yes. We can because of paragraph 2.
Because of paragraph 2. Yeah.
That's right.
Dissolve
Because
the
of
bands.
paragraph 2, we can turn around and we can start a whole new government. That doesn't mean we're throwing away, though,
Right.
the Articles or the Constitution.
Right.
All
But
we're
that's
doing
the thing, is you don't
we're
even,
getting rid of the people
Yeah.
that have corrupted the system.
but we don't even have to get rid of the people or the system. We just build a new one and we say,
Yeah, but you still have to abolish the old.
no, you don't.
It says so. It is the right of the people to abolish.
It is the right. But we don't even have it. We could just ignore them. And they could do their own thing. I don't know. I see it that way.
Then it's a contract. Now who do you listen to?
the people get to decide.
Right.
It's like, do you want to be part of the Cherokee Nation, or are you an American?
I get that.
Like,
But it's cleaner if we push it out. Because then you don't have this convoluted state of government. So you have to get rid of that.
is there anything else you want to tell the 7.5 people listening out there?
The 7.5?
I have no idea how many people are listening. You can't see it through this app. You gotta like go over here.
So is this on YouTube?
It's on YouTube, Facebook, whatever.
We
We got 79 now.
79!
We're doing
What
right.
kind of comments?
Oh, alright. This one's slow though. This guy was key in promoting the idea of repealing the Emergency Powers Act. Oh, he was, okay. Sometimes we got a lot of banning going on. Ricky Bobby! Ricky Bobby, you better be banned. It sounds a real Ricky Bobby. Yeah, go for it. Somebody's trolling the comments. I bet it's the Bradley guy. I get distracted by the comments, so I'm not trying to read them with you. I'll go down to peace.
Yeah, so, Bruce is saying that you're promoting the idea of repealing the Emergency Powers Act. Okay? The fact of the matter is, it's not the Emergency Powers Act. The 1976 National Emergency, that's not what we're trying to repeal. We're trying to repeal the proclamation.
Proclamation.
Okay?
Which allows...
the declaration. The declaration. Okay? By getting rid of that, that's the one thing that's specific.
Well, like the Declaration of Independence built the Constitution.
You got to get rid of the Declaration, but it is based on the 1976 Act. We're not trying to throw away. There are some that say, well, we need to throw that act away from 1976. If you do, then you can't. If there's a tornado that tears up down the street, then you're not going to have anything to cover that. So you have to look and say, well, this is a declaration that is basically a part of, or it's a issue that's attached to. Now you got to get rid of that. So, and Mike is right. We may not be able to complete that task, but it's not for trying, for lack of trying. We have to. That's our goal. That's our objective.
Right.
So, where would we be if we failed at that objective? Start thinking about that. As a country, what happens if we just back up and go home? I don't even want to think about all those ticked off Americans who say, then we're going to have to deal with it.
Well, but what they fail to see online, you're welcome always on the one. What they fail to see is the connections being made. Online, it doesn't present. The only way to get those connections is to be here. So if you want those, like, you and I might talk 10 years down the road and be like, hey, remember that moment and we did this and this? And then we might have some fruit from that conversation right there that just does something nobody even expected 10 years down the road. Much less what's happening right here, right now.
That's right. So, this is, I hope that we never see something like this.
Right.
Because it's like I said in the beginning, are we having fun yet? Is this about fun? Or is this a mission?
When he first said that, when he said, so then he said, are you have freedom yet? Are you having freedom yet? When you're on God's mission, it's fun as can be.
Oh, yes. But standing here within the movement, are we here to have fun?
No.
That's my point.
Right. I agree with that.
So we're out for the freedom.
Right.
The freedom that we don't have. We don't have. How many people out here have lost their jobs because of these mandates that stem from powers in which they're abusing? They're abusing. Okay, and I say they, give it in a kill box. They, because ultimately they are abusing us. That's where we have to go right back to the Declaration of Independence.
The Declaration. Well, you're talking about the Declaration. I don't know. This conversation has to continue another day. It's perfect right now. Because I'm good going down.
Stem from it.
Oh no, I'm giving a hug tonight though.
Yeah, love you, brother.
We'll talk in the future.
Nice chatting with you guys.
Boom. Gray Wolf over here. Thank you.
You bet.